Got it. Okay, so I am married to the love of my life. We have been married for 5 years, August 8th, and we've together almost 11. So we have had ups and downs for sure. We have 3 kids, 4, 2, and 8 months. I work full time between marketing equipment all over Ohio for construction places and farmers, and also with coaching and everything also. So that's fun. But anyways, enough about me. Okay, so what we're really getting into here. Who are you? Okay. What do you want from this life? And how do you want to better yourself and the people around you? So if you don't know that answer and you're unsure of how to get there, I have found a few things to work for me. So professional help, whether that be counseling or I actually did some, I wouldn't say life coaching. I didn't get a life coach, but this gentleman came to our office there at WMS, and he wanted to talk about some sales stuff, and he really it was kind of actually personal development, ended up being personal development instead of sales. So it ended up being exactly what I needed at the time. And then the other thing that I've done a lot of is self-help, and I include coaching in that because I feel like I help myself a lot. Whether that be books or Audible books or workbooks or whatever. Some of the crutches that I've used, though, that have kind of held me back a little bit from wanting to help others and help myself even more. I used to use alcohol as a crutch. I wouldn't say I was addicted, but I definitely went to that as a make me feel good when I was upset or mad or whatever. And then I started finding other things that would work in that place. And so I really have loved working out every day for this program. It has changed everything. So I was a 3 to 4 day a week workouter. I never worked out every day. I feel like it fit into my crazy life. My husband farms for a living, so that's pretty crazy time of the year for us. So the other thing that I did was I would buy a lot of stuff online or in the store. Making purchases always makes us feel good. So that was one thing that held me back. And then the other thing was, and I don't know, I know that we've talked about relationships a little bit here and there, and I know that we've really, oh yeah.
Chris, can you let Kristen back in?
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. There we go. Everybody good? Can I see everybody? Oh yeah, okay. Let Kristen back in. Oh, and there's a couple more people. Hey guys. So I know we've talked about relationships, and I know we've talked about a bunch of personal development stuff, and I have found a couple people that I don't know that we've actually listened to, and I thought about pulling the video up, but instead maybe I'll just tell you who they were when I get to it. But one of the other things that I actually used as a crutch to keep me from getting where I wanted to go was I wanted affection from my husband that I couldn't provide for myself. So I found out later, after counseling and self-help and a whole bunch of other stuff, that I didn't love or trust myself. So I was asking him for things that I couldn't provide for myself. So I always wanted him to show me more love, to do this and do this and do this and be affectionate and help me around the house and all of these things. So my expectations, which leads me to that, were crazy. They were insane. My expectations were stupid. So I was letting myself down at the same time, which then in turn messed everything else up. Because everybody knows that if your relationship isn't good, or even just okay, it doesn't have to be great all the time. But if you're dating somebody and your relationship with them is messed up, it's messy. And then it makes everything else in your life messy. And so I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about some of that stuff because I really feel like nowadays the answer is to just walk away. And so I would say this is where I'm going to get a little deep. My husband and I, more than ever, have been the closest to divorce that we ever have, ever. It has been shitty. And I continue to coach through it. Not that that's what this is about, but it was freaking hard. We decided to sit down and talk about a lot of stuff. So whether that be emotions that we thought were minor, that we never talked to each other about, or whether that be something that upset me that he did that I just didn't feel like was worth the conversation. It's always, by the way, it's always worth the conversation. So don't ever let somebody tell you how to feel. Okay, so if you feel it, it's okay to feel it. Okay, now I would say you need to make sure you check yourself. So don't let yourself get like crazy. Don't let yourself get like overboard. You know, you need to look at yourself and be like, am I feeling this for the right reasons? Is this okay to feel? You know, did I do this to myself? So were my expectations too high and that's why I'm feeling this way? Or were my expectations okay? He just let me down and he said that he was going to do these things. So I would definitely say that those were some things that were frustrations that we took out on each other too, because it was easy because he was right there and I'm, you know, yeah. He is, like I said, so I'm most comfortable with him. So when I have a bad day, I can take it out on him really easily. And so one of the things that I really wanted to talk about today was that since neither of us wanted this, so we also sat down and talked about things that we had been together for almost 11 years, and we sat down and talked about things that we never thought we would even talk to each other about. So like things from our childhood, things from our teenage years, from our early adult years. Now, granted, we talked a lot. I would say we communicated a lot, but not about the right things. So that is one of those things that I wanted to make sure that you guys communicate, but don't over communicate about the things that don't matter. Over communicate about the things that do matter. You know, I know that they say choose your battles, and I would definitely agree with that. Choosing your battles is definitely a good one. Don't be bitchy all the time. Okay, you have to see the good things that they're doing too. So, and that's what. So by me wanting him, all of this affection from him, he could never meet my expectations, okay? And then so what happened was when he could never meet my expectations, I never saw any of the things he was doing down here. So even if it was small stuff like putting the kids to bed, or occasionally he would throw his own laundry in the washer. Now, we've had that conversation before. If you can throw your own laundry in the washer, I think you can throw everybody else's laundry in the washer. Like, it doesn't have to be, just your stuff. And he was like, well, what if I diet? And I was like, okay, well, I guess we learned that you know, we don't put reds in with the whites on. Like at this point, about a year ago, so I'm coming up on my year of counseling. And about a year ago, I was in such a terrible place that I couldn't function. So, I mean, my house is still a disaster. It's still not up to my par because my anxiety is kind of borderline, has some OCD issues. And so everything, I have to have everything perfect. So I work out here a lot because my front porch is clean and I can shut that door and I don't have to see anything. So, yeah, I would definitely say that it can get a little hairy with relationships. So we let everything out of the closets that we ever had. So I had gotten to a point where I had lost 45 pounds after my second child. And I was getting some feedback from my friends, girls and guys. And I found myself really enjoying that feedback. And I was like, so where's the happy medium here? So like, where can I be appreciative for those comments? And where do I like have to put my guard up and be like, I'm not really sure where you're going with that, or if that's like supposedly crossing a line. And I know that all of you lovely, gorgeous women are working on yourselves. So I felt like this was a topic I needed to talk about, because when we work on ourselves and we lose weight and we become even more attractive than what we were, then we start getting comments from people that we not necessarily had before. And so I'm not really sure where the happy medium is for everybody. But when it started to make me feel awkward, that's where I like drew the line. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I really liked some of those comments that I was getting, like really, really liked some of those comments that I was getting. And so I sat down and talked to my husband and I was like, listen, like, this guy over here is like telling me that I look really pretty like almost every day. You know, I know that he's really trying, okay? But like over here, like every day, and I don't get it from you, but maybe like once every 6 months. And so I'm like, open up your damn mouth. It's not that difficult. If you think that I look good, then just fucking tell me that I look good. Like, it's not that difficult. And I think some of those things, or things that drove me insane. So those were pet peeves of mine that I had that I didn't even really know that I had. So I don't get dressed up often, okay? I most generally go to work without makeup on. Usually my hair's up in a ponytail and I have a WMS shirt on and jeans or capris, something like that. I never know what I'm gonna get into with work, so I don't know whether I'm gonna be crawling on top of a combine or underneath a tractor or in a dozer. I never know. So I never wear shorts, and I don't usually ever wear flip-flops or anything like that. So I'm usually covered, like modest. Like, I mean, there's not even like any cleavage hanging out or anything. And I thought to myself, if every, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks I actually put makeup on and he can't say something like, oh, well, I really like how you did those colors, or, you know, I really like that color lipstick, or, I mean, whatever. We've had this conversation before. Don't let me walk out of the house looking stupid. If you don't like the color, tell me to go wash it off. You know what I mean? Be nice about it, but, you know, I don't know, just look out for me too. I used to be one of those people that was like, okay, I'm going to ask him 7,000 times if he likes my outfit. And then even if he doesn't, I'm going to change it 6 times. So, and I really should have noticed, I guess, my cues that I didn't love myself or trust myself then, but I didn't see any of them. I didn't see any of that. And I lost 45 pounds. And I was like, how in the world am I having love issues with myself if I lost 45 pounds? Isn't it all about losing weight and getting skinny? No, it's not. It's about your mental health. It's about up here. And that is what I'm figuring out. And one of the things that I wanted to tell you ladies about, I just watched with my hubby, Brene Brown, How to Know If I Can Trust Someone. Okay.
Can you let Alicia in?
So definitely now, how to know if I can trust. Oh, who's that? Oh, okay. I didn't know if you ladies had ever watched that on here. I know that we've had quite a few of them. I went back and looked at some of the ones that I had missed. But I know that we've listened to Brene Brown. I didn't know if we listened to that specific video, but it's like cartoonish. It literally is, it was really good. But she talks about how she never liked the definition of trust and trusting ourselves. She never liked that definition, so she made up one because she's good at that, because she's like fantastic. And one of the things that she come up with was an acronym, and it's braving. So BRAVING, braving, because trust equals braving connection. Okay, that's how she came up with this. So B is for boundaries. Okay, R is for relatability. A is for accountability. V is for vault. I is for integrity. N is for non-judgment. And G is for generous. She goes through, I'm not going to talk about all of those, but he goes through to talk about how if you, how do I want to say this? Let's go with like generous, for instance, okay, and non-judgment. I believe those kind of go together. If you're going to judge your significant other or yourself, then you can't really not judge other people. Okay, so if you judge yourself, even though you think that you're not judging other people for the same things, you really are. Okay, so I know that that absolutely sounded crazy to me, and she goes into detail with all of this stuff a little bit more, but she has very, very, very good points. And I really liked how she said, somebody once told her that you should not love anybody who doesn't love themselves, because you can't trust them. If you don't love yourself and you say that you love your spouse, do you even know what that is? Because you can't even be generous enough to yourself to love yourself. So she goes on to talk about a bunch of stuff and how there should be generosity in your relationship, and how you're always supposed to think that they are meaning things for the better, not the worst. So if they make a comment, don't automatically take that negatively. Try to take that positively. Oh, okay, well, maybe he meant it this way. Oh, you know what? When he did that the other day, maybe he was trying to help me out, not make things worse, even though it ended up making things worse, you know? We have to definitely give them, our significant others, the benefit of the doubt, for sure. One of the things that Cody and I, when we got into talking about our childhoods, one of the things that we ended up finding was it was called the attachment theory. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of this. Okay, so neither had we. We were kind of scrolling for some stuff that we really wanted to listen to last night on YouTube through our Roku. And it's called the attachment theory, how childhood affects life, okay? And how secure attachment equals success. So we got into talking about how um, we both kind of felt like, I don't know, we were loners as kids, and how that's affecting us in our relationship, which is kind of cool. And you can also sit down and look at it. And we started looking at it too after we talked about us. We started talking about it too, about how it has to do with our children and how we need to make sure that our children are not going to have attachment issues, which then could cause them to have problems later in life. So if they have aggression issues or anger issues, how we need to get them knocked out now before, you know, everything else happens in their lives. One of the things that we also did, I'm going to have it out here. I took it up to bed with me. So I ordered, it's called the 31-Day Pursuit Challenge. And I kind of thought to myself, do I really want to spend more money in like workbooks and all this other stuff? And, you know, but I'll tell you, ordering the workbook is not as expensive as a divorce. So you might as well do it. So it's called the 31-Day Pursuit Challenge. And you get, it says, it's like how to pursue my husband and how to pursue my wife, and each of you get them. And so, oh no, it's called The Wife in Pursuit. That's what it's called. The Wife in Pursuit. And then the Husband in Pursuit. So he gets his book and you get your book and you work on this for the next 31 days. And even if you guys aren't having issues in your relationships, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst nightmare. I really hope that everything's going great between you and your spouse. But there's always hiccups. And we kind of just feel like right now is this time that we're supposed to iron everything out. We're getting ready to renovate our farmhouse. And we kind of just feel like our farmhouse is supposed to be the clean spot. We're supposed to sell this house and all of the hurt and pain is supposed to be here, and we're supposed to move out there and have a clean slate. And so we just got into this book. I shared a quote about it the other day, but a bunch of people asked me where that quote came from. It was so good. The little bit that I'm getting into is so good. So I highly suggest that. He and I have talked about how we truly believe that things that are happening right now are supposed to, so that we learn from them. So something else that I had kind of realized too was that when we learn from the things going on around us, only then can we move on from them. So if you try to bury them, or if you try to move through them too quick, and you don't really learn from it, then it's not really going to go anywhere. It's still going to stay there. It's just going to be back in your mind somewhere because you buried it, which is what we did with a lot of things that we had going on in our relationship. We know our kids deserve both of us to be happy. And so that is one of the things that we really wanted to focus on. And in turn, some of the things that our relationship has had problems with is so I have anxiety from postpartum. Actually, I had anxiety prior to postpartum, but it wasn't terrible. I felt like it was minor anxiety. Just little things that I would like worry about. But then postpartum hit me. Sorry, ladies. I haven't had my Energize yet this morning, or my coffee. So one of the things that hit me was postpartum. So I had pushed 3 plus hours, like actively pushed to get my first child out. It was awful. 3 hours. Okay, so I was like going insane by the end of that. Okay, so I was like out in no man's land for a really long time. My epidural had worn off. I delivered my baby without the crazy. They had turned my epidural down and then started having me push, and then they couldn't get her head out because she's got a noggin like her daddy. And when he looked at me and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and cut you," and I was yelling and screaming, but wasn't yelling, like nothing was coming out. I was yelling at him, telling him that I could feel everything and that he needed to do something, but he wasn't hearing anything because nothing was coming out of my mouth because I was all in my head and nothing was happening. Um, he cut me, and so he gave me an episiotomy without anything. And so my delivery with my first was absolutely awful. And I mean, thank God, happy, healthy. Both of us were good afterward. But my healing time was ridiculous. And I felt like it robbed every like little aspect. Like I couldn't heal well. It didn't help that I felt like he messed up my stitches. He didn't stitch everything up the way that he probably should have, which was really upsetting. So then everything was super painful for like 6 months afterward. And so I just had a lot of resentment toward him. And it was building up a lot. And of course, my husband received the brunt end of all of that because I never felt like he could help me enough. I always felt like I delivered our children and then raised our children from 0 to 3 months by myself, because I was nursing. So he always felt like, what the hell am I going to do? I don't have a boob to give him. Like, and even though I like had my haka for the second one and all of that fun stuff, like we never, like he gave him a bottle, but not anything like consecutively. Damn it, I should have gotten coffee. Not anything consecutively. And so, unless I like pushed him to get up in the middle of the night with our daughter, he wouldn't do it. I was like, no, it's your turn. I'm not doing it. I am not getting out of this bed. So you either go get her and change her butt and then give her to me so that I can nurse her, or she's going to sit there and scream for 3 hours, which probably would not have happened. But I needed him to believe that that's what was going to happen. So we get to talking about all of that stuff and how I felt like deliveries and postpartum really like messed with my everything, my head, my personality. Everything was different after I had a baby. And I never sought help for postpartum depression because I had looked up that shit for like months before I delivered my first. So I didn't have like extreme postpartum, like as in like want to throw my baby up against the wall, put him in a microwave, which were the 2 questions that my doctor asked me when I went back at 6 weeks. That's all she asked me. She was like, do you want to put your baby in the microwave? And I'm like, if I did, I probably already would have done it after 6 weeks. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, now's a little late to be asking me that. Like, do you want them to fall down the stairs or something? And I was like, no, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, that's like the extreme of everything, not like all of the little shit that leads up to that. You know what I mean? Like, why give women help after they deliver children when they can't be helped or they have to go into a padded room because they're crazy, because you let them go cray-cray before you actually helped them? Like, come on, that doesn't make any sense to me. So after I had my second child, I had went to my doctor and I had pleaded with her and was bawling in her office and was like, I need help. I can't sleep. I can't do this. My mind goes all night. I can't function. My relationship sucks. Like, what is going on? And she was like, you're fine. You'll be fine. Everything's fine. And I was like, but is it? But is it? Because I surely don't feel like it is. And she was like, I think, honey, you just need some sleep. Have your mother-in-law or your mom come to your house every day for a week and let you get an hour or 2 hours nap. And I'm like, first of all, I'm nursing. What the hell do you not understand about that? Second of all, what the hell is 1 hour of sleep going to get me? I want to sleep for days. Can I just go sleep for the next 2 weeks? Then I might feel rested up. Only when I got to the point where I wanted to, and this sounds so crazy, and this is still suicidal, so don't ever let yourself talk yourself out of being better than what you really are, okay? I looked at my doctor when I changed doctors, because literally that person wasn't helping me out, so I was like, what the fuck am I going to continue going with her for? And at one point I had talked to her about some things going on in my relationship, and she told me that I was an awful person, so I was like, yeah, peace, I'm out. And I was like, okay, not for me. So I went to my new doctor, the woman that I still go to because she's freaking amazing. And Megan Bear, I couldn't deliver with her this time. So she came and was my doula and walked me through everything. And I was able to have an epidural free delivery this time, which was kind of cool. Yeah, I kind of wish that I would have done them all like that. For real. Yeah, it was easy. But I had been working out, so I felt like my body could do it. And but I looked at her before, when I was pregnant and before I had the baby, and I was like, okay, I just want to drive off a cliff and wreck my car and be in a coma for like 2 weeks so that I can actually sleep for 2 weeks. I don't want anything bad to happen. Like, I don't want to die, and I don't want anybody to be in the car with me. I don't want them to die, you know? And she was like, that's not logical. Like, if you were to drive off a cliff, you would die. Like, those things don't go together. So that's still suicidal. And I was like, huh. Yeah, I've had that feeling for a really long time. And she was like, oh, okay. Yeah, like, we probably should do something about that then. I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere, you know? And she was like, I think you need to go see this counselor. And I'm like, oh, I thought you were going to tell me to go take some medicine, because that's what the last lady did. And I became even more suicidal on the medicine because I wasn't able to help myself or do anything that helped me. So I had decided that I really was going to go to counseling for my anxiety and depression, because it was really putting a roadblock in my relationship with my husband. I never could get enough from him because he didn't understand my anxieties. He didn't understand that me staring at the monitor all night watching my child breathe was me hoping that they wouldn't die. He didn't understand those things. And there were so many nights I told him that I had fallen asleep last night praying to God to keep him safe. I didn't know what else to do. Like, that is altering your state of mind, and it's altering your life. So things can be controlled. Now, I went on medicine for a little while and it didn't work then. But it didn't work then because I wasn't doing anything to help myself other than work out occasionally. And that's not the answer. So one of the things that I want all of you beautiful ladies to know, that what helped me really like a lot with my coaching stuff, was that you have to want them to want Beachbody. So if they're not there yet, they're not going to do good with it. They're going to do it, and then they're going to fall off, and then they're going to go on their way. And then you're going to have to find somebody else. And you may hook back up with them later, but that's not what they needed. Coaching should be about you looking after them. And if they need counseling, you need to tell them that they need to go to counseling. Okay. And that may mean that they don't have the money for Beachbody right now. I just did that to one of my friends. I was like, listen, no, you're not just gonna put a band-aid over it again. Like, okay, you can work on yourself all you want, but if you don't work on your mental health, it's not gonna get better. Because you can work out all you want, and I can tell you this from personal experience, you can lose 45 pounds and be feeling fantastic physically and still be in a shitty mindset. So do not promote something that you don't wholeheartedly feel that they need. So I probably have recommended 10 people to my counselor, and I just found out that like 8 of them are going like to the same counseling office, which is Mind, Body, and Health Associates in Findlay. They take the holistic, I guess, approach, maybe I want to say. I am on medicine, so I am on Zoloft every night, 25 milligrams, just enough to help me sleep and not go crazy. Or at least that's how it makes me feel. So I definitely, they're holistic in a sense that they'll give you yoga and they'll give you all of these things and they'll help you with all these things. In fact, Michelle Meinhardt, she owns Woven Yoga right beside Beacon House, uptown of Upper, and she actually works for Mind, Body, and Health Associates. So they're all connected. So they can teach you yoga and they can teach you all these things and they can teach you how to get your mind right with yoga. I'm sure that Elika can tell us this too. You know, if you're thinking about the right things and doing yoga, then it will help you. But if you don't know how to think and you don't know how to breathe and you don't know how to do those things, then yoga can relax you, but it may not help you mentally. So, you know, he and I have really been looking into Cody and I have really been looking into some different things that we can do to help ourselves so that we can help other people around us. And one of those things that we came across was Steve Harvey. It was a video of Steve Harvey because I love Steve Harvey. And it actually said, okay, so one of his favorite quotes is, "You have not because you asked not." Okay, so you have not because you asked not. So if you have not asked God to create it for you, and I know that everybody may be on different wavelengths with religion and all this fun stuff, so it may not be God specifically, it may be whoever you worship. But if they created you and you're trying to make this life go the way that you want it to, which is, by the way, not a thing, he already has all the plans out for you. So if you don't ask him to create it for you, then how is it supposed to happen? I was very intrigued by that when I listened to him, because I've been very, very, very disconnected from my religion for a while. I would say that I really only go to prayers when other people need them. I had not been going for myself, I guess, and that I know that it feels terrible. And so I really wanted to kind of touch base on this because one of the things that Wife in Pursuit and the Husband in Pursuit book is about bringing in God back in too. So it's very helpful with that. I'm very lucky that my husband is on board, and I believe that 2 lesser people would have ran away and just been like, okay, we're done. It's fine. That's what society kind of tells us to do. It's like way too cheap to get a divorce. Like, I mean, I know it's expensive, but it's like way too cheap. For real. I mean, I guess I feel like maybe I need to start sitting down and asking God to create things for me. So show me, to ask him to show me what he wants out of me. Um, I was actually listening to some motivational speakers about motivational speaking, kind of like how to's, because I really like it. Um, and one of the things that they were talking about was how motivational speaking is odd because most people don't like to get up in front of people. Um, but they had talked, so it just got me thinking about how maybe I should ask God if that's what he wants me to do and if he can point me in the direction that he needs me to go, and maybe just talk to him a little bit more. One of the things that we were listening to get back to when I was talking about, because I'm rambling now, about anxiety and depression was that we listened to, so interestingly enough, so Cody, I never was in FFA as a kid. Cody was. He actually went to national convention and got his American degree, and he's got, like, I don't know, trophy upon trophy upon trophy upon plaque upon plaque upon plaque. He actually went to nationals for soils. I don't know if any of you know anything about any of this stuff, but it's like a really big deal. They got to take a trip to Oklahoma for all of this stuff, and they were the first ones to go since it was like 50 years since Upper had been around. They were the first ones to go for Upper in 50 years, which was absolutely crazy. But one of the people that he had said that he said that he always liked the motivational speaker that they had at national convention. And so we started looking up some of that stuff, and we found this guy, and his name is Kyle Steele, Steele. Kyle Steele. And he was speaking at a national FFA convention when we listened to him. And one of the things that he said was, oftentimes in life, we're afraid of things we shouldn't be afraid of. Someone else has handed us this fear, and we never took the time to evaluate if we should be afraid of it or not. Did we even ask ourselves if it would hurt us or not? It really hit me. And then the next statement was like even better. He says, unhealthy fears cause your life to be smaller than it needs to be. Unhealthy fears cause your life to be smaller than it needs to be. It hit me all the way down to my bones. It was like one of those things that was like, damn. Yep. I have been living my life expecting things to go wrong, which then in turn causes your life to be small because you aren't fulfilling your full potential with what you should be in your life, whether that be mothering, wifing, working full-time, coaching, whether that be all of the above. Unhealthy fears cause your life to be smaller than it needs to be. It literally, I mean, I know that I've mentioned quite a few motivational speakers and stuff like that, and I didn't want to show clips of every single one of them because I wasn't sure if I would have time, and I was glad I didn't because I only got 10 minutes left. But seriously, ladies, on your own time, look them up. So good, so good. I literally had thought about some of this stuff last night when I was reading my Wife in Pursuit book, when I fell asleep and it smacked me in the face. but it was literally like some of the greatest things that could have happened last night, for him and I to sit down and prepare for this day, whether it be for Warrior Hour or the coach meeting later. It was just really nice. And he and I are on the same page, thank God. Literally, thank God, because we both realize that we need each other and we want to be there for each other and we want to have the best relationship possible. We want this for our children and for us. One of the other things that I have written down here that was really good was fate is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. Fate is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. So we can want and want and want things, but when things just happen, or that thing finally clicks, that's fate. That's something that we can't see. It's something that we may have hoped for. It may have been, us asking God to guide us, and all of a sudden this thing just pops up. That's fate. That's things, and I believe in fate. I don't know if any of you guys believe in fate, but I have found it to be really, really good. Oh, hey there, cutie. Hey there, cutie. Oh, I love those cheeks. Yeah. So, ladies, I know that I'm under time. Any of you have anything that you have questions about or want to say?
I just want to say thanks. It's Carly.
Hey.
Just thanks for like sharing your story and like being honest and real. Like, I think that's really important. And I feel like a lot of times we just mask those problems. And it's just good to know that like we're not alone, So just thanks for being you.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Yeah, I definitely resonated with all of your postpartum and everything. I transferred from home birth with Annie to have an emergency C-section because my midwife was not ready to deal with my situation at home. So I was put under completely, delivered my child through C-section, and I didn't get to see her for 2 hours because they didn't get to just give me an epidural through a C-section that way. So my mom literally nursed her for me for the first time because I wanted to do everything all natural. I didn't have complications at home until she turned. So she was presentation. So she turned face up and started to stick her hand out while I was crowning. But I didn't have pain at home. So I feel you when you're talking about doing things naturally without the epidural. But postpartum, because the hospital had ill will towards me since I wanted to deliver at home, a piece of placenta was left in my uterus. So 7 weeks postpartum, I was in full-blown septic shock and it was rotting. So I had to go back and have a second surgery, and I lost my breast milk supply. So I was depressed. I mean, I had lost out on my birthing experience. Can you be patient, please? I lost out on my birthing experience. I had lost out on my breastfeeding experience. And at the time, I worked for Marion County WIC and was teaching breastfeeding, and I couldn't breastfeed my kid. So I was devastated. I mean, for a long time. And even, when she was, of course, a lot younger, I had resentment. And I was also doing it by myself. I was a single mom. So it was just like, you're right. I remember being like, oh my gosh, after I was in the hospital for that time, having the placenta taken out, I remember going, I wish I could go back to the hospital because it was the only time I got to sleep. So I definitely feel that. And like, even still sometimes now, my anxiety gets the best of me. And I'm like, when I'm having my Crohn's flares and I'm in the hospital, it's like, that is the only peace and quiet and time I get to myself. Like, I can't even go to the bathroom without a kid or a dog following me. You know what I mean? Like, literally, that's our lives as moms. It's hard.
I feel you on that. We actually had somebody in our area, a mom in our area, she delivered her second, and she ended up getting strep B, and she ended up passing away. because it ended up, they sent her home with a fever, and she ended up, yeah, she ended up not feeling good, and she went back into the emergency room, and they told her that well, by the time she got into the previous 2 days, she was already infected, and it was everywhere, and it was not good. Yeah, I can't even. I love babies, and I love my babies, but going through delivery again, like, I don't know, Cody and I have talked about having a fourth. And I know that sounds crazy to me because I'm a twin. So, like, it could go from like 3 to 5 pretty quickly. And I'm just not like, yeah, let's do that. I'm just not there yet. I love my 8-month-old, and I just, and he's like so mellow and chill. And I'm like, I think we're supposed to end here, In fact, I went to Jeffrey Jewelry last night. I don't know if you ladies can see this. They're having a big sale. Of course, it doesn't let you see it. Maybe I need to put my hand behind it. But there's 2 heads at the top and then 3 in the middle. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna treat myself to that, and it's gonna be something that reminds me that even when my postpartum anxiety and depression are terrible, that I can hold on to something even though I can't hold on to them. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to use it to help me and benefit me, and hopefully benefit everybody around me, and hopefully have those attacks of extreme bitchiness and, all that fun stuff. And hopefully I can get to myself and understand that there are times that I just need breaks, and I need to do it. So no matter what happens, whether that be, and I hate to tell work this, but whether that be that I take, 2 hours off at the end of the work day or whatever. I'm self-employed, so it's not really like, but whether I take those 2 hours at the end of the day to sleep before I go pick up the kids, or whether I work out in the mornings, or whatever I do, I know that I'm a better person when I take that time for myself. And I preach that to everybody that I coach to, because it is really important. And only when you start taking care of yourself at all cost, I don't care what it is. I don't care if you don't go out to eat for the next month because you needed that $200 to be able to take care of yourself. There are so many things that we, waste stupid money on, freaking Amazon Prime gets me every time. I'm like, oh, I'm already ordering this, so why don't I just order this, and this? I'm like, damn it. Shouldn't have done that. But yeah, now I'm getting rid of all my clothes in my closet, literally. Like, I have my whole living room full of clothes for my closet because I literally would go and buy and buy and buy and buy and buy and never get rid of. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't fit a single shirt in my closet anymore. Can't fit anything in there. Like, why do I even have half this shit? So now I'm ready to purge it, and I'm getting ready to put it on the curb and just tell somebody to come pick it up and take it. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed being able to talk for you ladies today, and I know that vulnerability can be really intimidating. But one of the things that I'm mastering is that when I share my personal experiences, it makes me feel a little anxious at first. But after I share it, and the feedback that I get from people about how they went through the same thing, or they were going through the same thing, or they are going through the same thing, it makes up for that little bit of anxiousness that I feel. And in turn, it helps me because I love myself more when I am vulnerable, because I express my vulnerability and then accept it after I speak it. And so a lot of the times for me, hopping on that live or on Facebook, or hopping on that story on my Insta or Facebook, whatever, and saying a couple things about how I feel sometimes is not for anybody else but myself. And a lot of the time it helps other people, which is great. And so I guess that's one of the things that I'm getting better at, is being vulnerable so that I can love myself. And I've let you ladies know I have been workbooking it up over here with Amazon Prime. I've got negative self-talk and how to change it. Self-worth essentials. Self-love. And self-confidence. So I don't care if I have to go through every single one of these and then buy another one and go through it. I don't care if it takes me 6 months to get through one book. I have decided that I am going to love me for me, and I am extreme and a little over the top, and there are going to be people out there that don't like me for that. And there are going to be people out there that don't like me for my outgoing personality and for my occasional cuss word that sometimes becomes frequent. There are going to be people out there that don't like you, and that's okay. Not everybody has to like you. And I am starting to get to the point where Jenny talks about not taking offense when somebody doesn't choose you as their coach. I'm starting to get to that point where if somebody doesn't choose me, when I reach out to them, then that's okay, because they evidently didn't, mesh with me enough for me to get them, going, which is fine. I want them to find somebody. And if somebody reaches out to me and they're looking for somebody, then I'm going to honestly place them with somebody that one of you beautiful ladies that I think that is going to be able to help them the most. And so if you're out there and you're telling your story, then a lot of the times you're going to get people that resonate with you. And I'm not going to lie to you. At first, me being vulnerable was really hard for my husband. Super, super hard for my husband, because he felt like I was telling all of our dirty laundry. But I kind of was like, okay, well then let's fix us, and then I won't have anything to talk about. I am not going to feel bad about talking to someone or women about what's going on in my life, because it's what's going on in my life. I'm not making it up. I'm experiencing it, and it's the things that are happening. I don't talk to people frequently about alcoholism, but I have had family members with it. I have family members with it. I have dealt with family members that have had depression. I know that several of my family members have depression, and they are never going to ever say that they have it. They're never going to admit it. And fortunately for us, we can't fix everybody else. We can only fix ourselves. And we really should put that at the top of our list every day. It should be us every day, because I know that the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup is like really big, but you really can't pour from an empty cup. And your kids, if you are taking care of yourself at the minimum, or even at the medium, I don't feel like my kids even deserve me taking care of myself mediumly, because they deserve me taking care of myself the most. And I want them to see that they too can take care of themselves, and they too can talk to people, and they too, it's okay to go to counseling, and it's okay to work on yourself. And I mean, my daughter fought me tooth and nail yesterday. She said she wanted to work out with me, but the only thing that she said she could do was push-ups. And I was like, okay, so do them. Do some jumping jacks, whatever, just keep yourself moving. If you don't want to, sit over there on the chair and you'll be fine. But I don't want to hear, and I've been called a military mom. But I looked at her and I was like, I don't want to hear anything else out of your mouth. Don't be whining. You know what I mean? Don't, mommy is doing this for her so that she's not upset and mad and bitchy and all of these things. And I said, mommy is her best self when she has this workout in. And because I get to sweat all my stresses out. And, I love that. And so, yeah, I really just think that I love the fact that we all have each other, and we can all benefit from learning each other's experiences, because I think it's so much better. Well, ladies, I suppose it is 9:06. So I am going to take a picture here real quick. So all right, I think that's pretty good. I was gonna try to take a picture on here, but I don't think I can. I'm not sure how to do that on my computer. Well, ladies, thank you for giving me your time this morning from 8 to 9, and I will see you tonight from 8 to 9 for Coach Team Call. So see you ladies later.